Okay, world travelers, here we are arriving in the port of Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, which is north of Nova Scotia, uh, just north of the Northumberland Strait in Canada. And it's a it's a very interesting place, and it's unique. They welcomed us with some of the young girls dancing on the way in. This place has some really strange weather conditions, as you're going to see in a minute. It freezes solid in the wintertime, and it can get up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. And the water can get up to 70. I don't understand how it can happen that far north. But look, all the boats have been taken out of the harbor here, and they're going to get the rest of them out along with the docks. All has to be done before it freezes up in the next couple of weeks. So they're in the process of pulling all the boats out and putting them up on the hard in preparation for winter. So we drove north from Charlottetown to the north beaches on Prince Edward Island. So we came to this Cove Head Harbor Lighthouse, which is sort of a famous one for the gale of 1851. Something like 70 ships ran aground here, and about 150 men died during that gale of 1851 on this northern part of the island. And so this lighthouse is to commemorate those who died in the ships that were lost. So this is a very important lobster fishing port. You can see that lobster boat out there. One of the main sources of income for the people on the island is fishing, and it's mostly for lobster. And also mussels, lobsters, and oysters. And so as we're going north, we stopped off at this thing called the Dune Gardens. And I think mainly it's a convenience stop, but it's another place to see the beautiful fall colors. They're not quite as bright here as they were in Sydney, but still beautiful fall colors. And this Dune Gardens has a restaurant where they grow the food right here in the gardens, and it goes straight from the gardens into the restaurant and served at the table. So we didn't have a chance to stop and eat here, but the gardens are beautiful. And it was surprising to me that they're still maintained so well, so close to the end of the season. The tourist season is maybe only another week or two because it's late and it starts to freeze and get cold. Our tour guide said at one point they had 24 feet of snow, and she showed us pictures of her house where the snow was way up above the door, so they had to tunnel out of their houses in the wintertime. So this place is pretty brutal, and there's not much to do here in the wintertime. So obviously fishing's important here. Agriculture and the tourist industry, I think, are the main occupations that keep the economy running. So at one time, this island was covered with trees, but it was clear cut because it used to be a big shipbuilding center, and they cut down most of the lumber. And so you don't see, most of it's in farmland now. But still, there's a few places where there's some old growth forest, and the fall colors here are beautiful. Again, not as good as Sydney, but still very striking. And I got a chance to focus on this last set of trees here where the colors are stunning, beautiful to look at. It's like eye candy. But I don't think I'd ever want to live here. I want to come here and visit in the summer. You can see Green Gables, which is from the book Anne of Green Gables, is the most important tourist attraction here. We stopped at this the fishing harbor, where mostly these are lobster boats. And it's interesting to me because when I get home from this trip, I'm going to go to California, and we're actually going to go hunting for lobster using lobster nets. Not allowed to use these traps like they have here in California. So we made nets to catch the lobster. You see they have a crane to pull the traps up. Here, each lobster license which can cost up to $1 million if they resell them or they pass out of the family. They're allowed a certain number of traps. And so over here on this side, you're going to see lobster boats with their traps stacked on the dock right next to the boat. And I imagine, within the next couple of weeks, all that stuff will have to be taken into those warehouses because I'm sure they don't leave it out in the wintertime. But all these boats will come out of here as well because this place freezes over solid in the wintertime. But it was interesting to me to look at the traps. I'll show you, there's a little black door. These are actually interesting, that little black window there so the little lobsters can get out of the parlor. That's where they put the bait, in the parlor. That's the right-hand side. Left-hand side is the entrance where they go in. They can get out of the entrance, but once they get in the parlor, they're trapped. So we went to the North Beach. And the thing that's interesting about this North Beach is that it's eroding with time. In the last 100 years, they've probably lost, I don't know, maybe 100 feet, maybe 100 yards of that north coast because it keeps eroding. So now here we're at Green Gables, which is the most important tourist destination on the island for people that have read Anne of Green Gables. I never read it, so I don't know. Anne wasn't home while we were there. What I did notice was that the door frames are very short. Those people must have been really small because I'm 6 feet and I only had like 2 inches of clearance between my head and those door frames. So the house is generally small. And this is the house of the grandparents of the people that I guess adopted Anne. So I don't know the whole story, just what was briefly explained to me. But it's not her house, but it's the grandparents' house that was supposedly the inspiration for the house in the story. So anyway, that's what the house looks like. And I'm not sure which room was Anne's. Somebody could read the book could probably tell you that. But it gets bitter cold here, so there's the heater in there for the upstairs. And then outside the house, there's the well covered. Good idea to keep the birds and other stuff out of the water. And then we took a walk down what's called Lover's Lane from the story. Again, I don't know the story, but I took the walk. It was a beautiful day, sun shining, no rain, and the fall colors were everywhere again. It was beautiful. So this is like a 6-time speed up of the walk down Lover's Lane. Had to check to make sure that it was a loop and that we ended up getting back so I didn't get stranded out here and the bus wanting to leave. This particular tour was a private tour that we arranged as opposed to the other ones that were arranged by Royal Caribbean. So this was just 7 people on it. We had our own tour guide and she's very knowledgeable. There's not much to do on this island in the wintertime. People struggle to find something because it's so cold and there's no tourists. The water is frozen. So it's a pretty stark place in the wintertime, I think. But in the fall, obviously beautiful, as you can see. And there were some signs along the way talking about how this related to the life of the family that lived here. So when we get back to the house here in just a minute, the Green Gables house, you will see Haunted Woods, which there's another trail that goes into Haunted Woods. We didn't have time to go take it. But they make these things, there's a restaurant, snack bar here, they make these things called beaver tails, which are like scones covered with, like the one I had was slathered with chocolate sauce and bananas. So it was good. And they have raspberry cordial soda pop, which I have not tasted anywhere else but here, so we had to try it. Okay, so now here we're coming back to the house, and we're going to go up to the place where the Haunted Woods Trail is. There's the Haunted Woods out there. And the other side of those woods is where the post office is, where she supposedly mailed the manuscript in to get the thing printed. So here we are leaving Charlottetown. Excellent lobster rolls, best lobster rolls ever. $32. A full 1 1/4 pound lobster meal is about $55 these days. So now we're headed to St. John, New Brunswick in the Bay of Fundy, which has the largest tidal swing in the world.